The morning in Chicago was quiet and gray. The sky hung low, like it was thinking hard about something. Old buildings stood close together, their bricks dark from many winters. On the south side of the city, the streets were waking up slowly. A bus sighed as it stopped at the corner. A man swept the sidewalk in front of a small store. Somewhere far away, a train horn cried out, long and lonely. In a small apartment above a closed bakery lived a boy named Daniel. He was 12 years old, thin, and small for his age. His hair was always a little messy, no matter how many times his mother tried to fix it. His shoes were worn at the edges, and his jacket was one size too big, given to him by a neighbor. Daniel liked that jacket. It made him feel older, like he was growing into something. Daniel woke up before his alarm, like he usually did. The room was cold, and the air smelled faintly of bread, even though the bakery below had shut down months ago. He lay still for a moment, listening. He could hear his mother coughing softly in the next room. He could hear the pipes knocking in the walls. These sounds were familiar and comforting in a strange way. He sat up and rubbed his eyes. Today was not like other days. Today felt heavier, but also lighter, all at the same time. His stomach fluttered, like birds were trapped inside. He swung his legs off the bed and stood on the cold floor. Daniel loved mornings, even hard ones. In the quiet, before the city fully woke up, he could think. He could hum softly to himself without anyone hearing. Music lived inside him, always moving, always waiting. Sometimes it felt like the only warm thing he had. In the small kitchen, his mother, Maria, was sitting at the table with a cup of tea. Her face looked tired, but her eyes were kind. She smiled when she saw him. "You're up early," she said softly. Daniel nodded. "Couldn't sleep." She understood without asking more. She reached out and squeezed his hand. Her hands were rough from work, from cleaning offices late at night, from holding on. "Eat something," she said. "Even if it's just a little." Daniel ate a piece of toast slowly. Each bite felt important. Outside, the city grew louder. Cars passed. Voices rose. Life moved on, as it always did. Daniel's life had not been easy. His father had left years ago, leaving behind silence and questions that never had answers. Money was always tight. Some days, the lights flickered, and Daniel worried they would go out. Some nights, his mother cried quietly, thinking he was asleep. But Daniel had something special. When he sang, the world felt different. Pain softened. Fear stepped back. He did not know where his voice came from. It just appeared one day, strong and clear, like it had been waiting. He sang while doing homework. He sang while walking to school. He sang softly in bed, into his pillow, so no one would hear. Music made him feel seen, even when no one was watching. One day, at school, his music teacher heard him sing by accident. The classroom door was open, and Daniel thought he was alone. He sang a song his mother loved, slow and full of longing. When he finished, the room was quiet. The teacher stood there, eyes wide. "Daniel," she said, "did you know you can do that?" From that moment, everything began to change, slowly and carefully. Now, months later, Daniel stood in his apartment, holding a small backpack. Inside was a change of clothes, a bottle of water, and a folded piece of paper with a number written on it. His audition number. His mother walked him to the bus stop. They did not talk much. Words felt too small for the moment. When the bus came, Daniel hugged her tightly. "No matter what," she said, her voice shaking, "I am proud of you." Daniel nodded. He could not speak. He got on the bus and took a seat by the window. As the city passed by, his reflection stared back at him. He looked scared, but also hopeful. The audition building was big and bright, nothing like his neighborhood. Lights shone everywhere. People crowded the halls, talking, laughing, warming up their voices. Daniel felt very small among them. His heart pounded so hard he thought others might hear it. He sat quietly, hands folded, listening to the echoes of other singers. Some were loud and confident. Some were nervous like him. Time moved slowly, like it was stretching itself. When his number was called, Daniel stood up. His legs felt weak, but he walked forward anyway. Each step felt like a question. Each breath felt like an answer. The stage was huge. The lights were blinding. For a moment, he could not see anyone. Then, slowly, shapes appeared. A long table, 4 judges, and in the center sat Simon Cowell, looking serious and calm. Daniel swallowed. He could feel his hands shaking. "What's your name?" Simon asked. "Daniel," he said, his voice small but steady. "And where are you from, Daniel?" "Chicago," he replied. Simon nodded. "What will you be singing today?" Daniel took a deep breath. "A song about hope." Simon raised an eyebrow slightly. "All right, whenever you're ready." The room went quiet, so quiet that Daniel could hear his own breathing. He closed his eyes. For a second, fear rushed in. Thoughts of failure. Thoughts of his mother waiting at home. Thoughts of going back to the same life. Then he thought of the mornings. The quiet, the music inside him. He opened his mouth and sang. His voice filled the room, soft at first, like a whisper. Then it grew, strong and clear, carrying pain and hope together. Each word felt honest. Each note felt real. The judges leaned forward. Simon's face changed. His eyes softened. Daniel sang about nights without sleep. About dreams that felt too big. About believing anyway. The room felt frozen in time. No one moved. No one breathed. When the last note faded, silence hung in the air. Then, slowly, applause began. It grew louder and louder, until it felt like the walls were shaking. Daniel opened his eyes. Tears blurred his vision. He saw Simon wiping his eyes. That, Simon said quietly, was something special. Daniel stood there, shaking, unsure what to do. Simon stood up. He walked over to the golden buzzer. He looked at Daniel one more time. This, Simon said, is why we do this. He pressed the buzzer. Golden confetti exploded into the air. It rained down like sunlight. The crowd screamed. Daniel fell to his knees, covering his face. He cried, not from sadness, but from release. From years of holding on. Back in Chicago, Maria watched on a small TV screen. She covered her mouth, tears streaming down her face. Daniel's life did not change in one night. He still went home to the same apartment. The same streets. The same challenges. But something inside him was different. He had been heard. Weeks later, Daniel stood on his roof at sunset, singing softly to the city. The sky burned orange and pink. Below, life moved on. He knew the road ahead would be hard. There would be fear. There would be doubt. But there would also be music. And that, Daniel knew, was enough.